Thank you for your continued support. Welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migwe. Now, the conversation, we shifted to matters to do with disaster risk reduction. Now, over 400 million students globally are affected by school closures, and that stems from 2022. And this is as a result of natural disasters, which have been exacerbated, whose intensity and frequency has been exacerbated by the climate change. So this is where we are going to focus. But this focus now shifts to schools. And Colonel David Kipkirui, somewhere who is the director of the National Disaster Operations Center, is already in studio to help me in this conversation. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
How are you doing this morning?
Fine, thank you.
Yes. Now, when we are talking about disaster risk reduction, there's something to do with a comprehensive safety school framework that is being implemented. But first of all, what is the mandate of the National Disaster Operations Center?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. National Disaster Operations Center, first of all, came into being in 1998, following two disasters. One was the El Nino of 1997, and the other one was the bomb blast at the U.S. Embassy in 1998. At that particular time, we did not have an institution that was supposed to respond to disasters. And KDF were called in to respond. And ever since that time, we've been operating as a multi-agency team in Nyayo House under the Ministry of Interior and National Administration. And this body has got staff drawn from different ministries: Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Defense, the National Police, and even the Ministry of Health. And our mandate since that time was to monitor, coordinate, and respond to disasters in the country. And we respond to disasters we call level 3 disasters. Disasters are in 4 levels, where level 4 is the international disaster, where the country calls in support from the international community. And level 2 and below is for the county government. So our mandate really is to ensure that the country is prepared to tackle disasters and respond to disasters as and when they come.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, before we even talk about the comprehensive safety school framework, yesterday was the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, and the theme was empowering the next generation for a resilient future. What is the importance of this theme?
Yes, very important, very important. I want my fellow Kenyans to know that the next generation, the preparation of the next generation, is the most important activity at the moment. If we are not careful and prepare and protect the children, we may not have a generation in future. It depends also on how we handle these young lives. If we mismanage them, in future, they will not be able to settle down. We should be concerned on their education. We should be concerned with how they are brought up, what information they access, because at this stage, this is the stage where they are being shaped, and the focus of the entire country should be on the child. And we are using this day, the IDDR Day, International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, to join hands with the international community and with the UN, who are implementing the Sendai framework. The Sendai framework has got 4 targets, and it has got 4 priorities and 7 targets. And one of them is empowering the child, to let the child know he's faced with a disaster. A child is innocent until an adult comes up and say, there is a problem here, be careful. And we want to use this opportunity to bring to the attention of our citizens that it is so important to take care of children. Our children are not being taken care of properly If you look at the way they go to school, if you look at the way they even come out of school, even when in school, this child is not happy. The ultimate goal of a child is to be happy. He should enjoy life. If this child is brought up in an environment where the child is happy, the child is playing, he's enjoying the education, he'll be a good citizen. If you mismanage this child, this country will be in problems.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
Now, it's true what you're saying, and schools is supposed to be one of the safest places for students and pupils. Now, coming to the comprehensive safety framework, what is it about, and how is its implementation?
Yes, the implementation has been a problem, just like any other document in this country. It's we are very good in coming up with documents, you know. Yes. But we keep them somewhere, and we have a problem implementing them. But from the NDOC side, a National Disaster Operations side, we want to work hand in hand with the Ministry of Education and look at the schools which are really vulnerable. And the last disaster, the flood disaster, we call it MAM, March, April, May, helped us to identify those schools which are vulnerable. You remember during the second term, the opening of schools were delayed because some schools could not just open. It was impossible for these schools to be opened. And therefore, we sat down with the Ministry of Education and many other stakeholders in our house and try and have a conversation. How do we handle these problems instead of waiting until the disaster strikes? So one of the ways is implementing this manual the Ministry of Education has come up with. And going forward, there is a bill in Parliament which has gone through Parliament. It has also gone, it is now at the Senate, second reading in Senate. This will establish an authority. Currently, we are not an authority. We are just a department within the Ministry of Interior. And our work is really to monitor. But we will go beyond just monitoring and coordination and go further and see and visit these schools which are vulnerable and see, have they really implemented this manual? Because our children, the way they are right now, are at risk. They are at risk. And you can tell from when there is a problem like a fire. Doors are supposed to be closed. They are not supposed to be closed from outside. Inside. The windows are not supposed to have grills, for example. These are very simple things, which needs, it's so difficult, it's so easy to implement, but it's not being done. Even the classrooms. A classroom of 40 children, you find there are over 100 in a classroom. This is not supposed to be the case. So in terms of implementation, we will work closely with the relevant ministries and hoping that the DRM bill, which is currently in Senate, will go through. It will give more teeth and more resources to the authority to be able to look at disasters in the country generally and also forward-looking. Because disasters are not going to be less. As the population is growing, disasters are going to become more because disasters are a function of population. The more the population, the more disasters. And going forward, this climate change is a real thing. It is going to be more frequent and more intense. The drought itself will be more intense. The floods itself also will be more intense. And there are other related disasters which will accompany floods, like epidemics. So we need a very strong body that will prepare the country for these disasters. Thank you.
So how are you going to incorporate stakeholders like the counties? Because we understand many schools are in rural areas. How are you going to coordinate or collaborate with the counties in ensuring that this comprehensive safety school framework is effective?
Yeah, as I said again, the DRM bill, which is in Parliament, is going to spell out how we are going to spread across the country. And what we have done even before we get to the bill itself, currently as we sit, we are trying to reach out to the regions. We want to activate the 8 regions initially. We want to establish what we are calling EOC, where EOC is Emergency Operations Center.
Yeah.
At the moment, we have an EOC here at Nyai House, which is 24/7. It is operated 24 hours. But we want the same to be at the 8 regions, the 8 provinces for a start because of resources. And going forward, we will go down to the county. And at the county level, we will establish an EOC. People who will sit in an operation room and monitor disasters throughout the night and throughout the day. And we will work with the county government to make sure that resources are allocated also to the disaster. The Constitution provides for allocation of 2% of resources to issues disaster. And we will encourage the counties to do the same. And once we establish EOCs at the county level, it becomes more easier for us to implement some of these laws, especially in school, to monitor. But as it is now, we have to go all the way from Nairobi to visit particular areas. And we have got about 3 disaster-prone areas. The Lake Basin region, which is always affected by floods, and also the Tana Delta.
Yes.
These are very notorious of floods.
Okay.
And these are areas that we really need to focus more and look at how do we help the children and the schools that are in these places.
Yes.
And also make sure that these people have alternative IDP camps, because at the moment schools are being used as IDP camps.
Yes.
And they destroy schools and make it very difficult for learners once the schools are open to operate.
Yeah, because if you look at what happened during the second term, opening of the second term, it was pushed forward because some of these schools were acting as IDP camps. Correct. Yes. But in this implementation, how are the schools adapting to this?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's not just the school community which is facing a challenge. The entire country is facing a challenge. Remember, this is an economy that is growing, and resources is always a challenge. But they are trying their level best. When you visit some of the schools, you can see an effort has been made. But there's still a big problem, because if you find a school in a story building, and this story building is accommodating almost 3,000 children. I was told of a school in Western which has got 3,000 children in one school. To us in National Disaster Operations Center, this is already a risk, and something needs to be done about it. So, so far, much has been done, but more needs to be done in implementing the regulation on school safety. Our schools are not properly secure as they ought to be at the moment. Not just the school itself, even access to the school. Where during the floods, some children could not access the school because the rivers or streams around these schools were flooded and children could not cross. Even the roads were so muddy. A 7-year-old child cannot walk to that school. So something needs to be done, other than just making sure that the child is safe while he's in class. Even access to the school needs to be relooked. Some schools need to spread out. Rather than bring all the children to one place, you can take especially grade 3 and below closer to their residential areas. Yes.
Thank you so much. And this is one of the topics that we are going to follow up because it involves schools, and we are looking forward to inviting you to have this conversation because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to disaster risk management. And thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much.
That is Colonel David Kipkirui Samoei, who is the director of the National Disaster Response Center. And now I will take you over to KICC, where the National Cohesion and Integration Commission and Kenya Editors Guild breakfast meeting is happening right about now.
For me, one of the most important